Our second speaker is Erica Harris. Erica's speech title is The Banjo and the African Drum. The Banjo and the African Drum, Erica Harris.
She's got one eye, one leg, and one lung. What do you keep her for? It's time to put her down. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, meet Frank, my former supervisor at a beautiful state park in North Carolina. I was showing up for my first day of work. I had entered Frank's office and walked into a conversation that was going on between him and his longtime friend Chet. When he left the office, I asked Frank, does he have a sick pet? Pet? Heck, I was talking about his wife. Compassionate, huh? I later learned that Frank really was talking about Chet's wife, and that she really did have just one working eye, one leg, and one lung. Frank had known Lois for over 30 years, and this is how he talked about her, by suggesting that Chet put her down. Now, I share that exchange with you to give you a little bit of insight into Frank, my boss, who took bets on how long I was going to last at the park. And he gave me 2 weeks tops, because as he loved to say openly and loudly, ain't no little black girl from the north got any business blazing trails and talking about nature. Excuse me? Well, this little black girl from the north was determined to prove Frank wrong. Sure, I had never cut grass before, let alone operated a chainsaw, and I was wildly afraid of bugs. Nevertheless, I had a made-up mind that I would do everything within my power to get this crass and cranky banjo-playing bully to stop calling me Yankee Princess. So I focused on the wonderful aspects of my job, and there were many of them. For instance, the energizing smell of fresh dirt. Seriously, when you've taken a post hole digger and then you dig deep into the earth to set a sapling, or you're the first one on a trail to spot that dog-toothed violet because they always promise spring's quick arrival. Or my favorite part would be to take a group of students, and yes, they grumbled because they had to leave their cell phones on the bus, and they really didn't like the heat so much, and they would have preferred a handheld video game and air conditioning, thank you so much. But nevertheless, I enjoyed taking this resistant group of fashionistas, messing up their style just a little bit with some sweaty, rubber hemp waders. And I lead them into a mildly racing river to teach them and show them tiny aquatic life. I could show them how to identify. This is a whirligig beetle, without screaming myself. This is a freshwater mussel. And here I have a damselfly nymph. And all of this while listening to the call of a red-tailed hawk above. That was a great day at work. During my year there, so obviously Frank lost all of his best. During my year there, while I was losing myself in the joys of my job, something else very interesting was happening as well. A foe was becoming a friend. But I wouldn't fully know that until my last day at work. Some things had happened in my family that required me to leave North Carolina and return to Chicago. So the park staff decided to reward me for putting up with Frank for a year by throwing a going away party for me. And I don't know what got into him, but apparently he was asking around about my interests. And someone told him that they had seen me at a local outdoor festival playing with this African tongue drum. It was very expensive, and seasonal park rangers don't make much money, so I couldn't afford it. But Frank was a master carpenter, and He took himself to a lumber yard that carried exotic woods, and he got a premier slab of African padak wood. And he worked magic with his jigsaw, and he proceeded to make me the most meaningful gift I've ever received. So there we are at this party. Frank on his banjo, me with my African drum, and together we freestyled the least likely duet you could ever imagine. We had radically different backgrounds, we had a rocky start, and somehow our instruments blended. So I want to ask, do any of you have a bully in your life? Do any of you have a cynic who doubts your ability to do the very thing that you want to do the most? I hope that you each have at least one. You might be wondering why I would say that. I say it because antagonists often push us further and harder than we might have gone without their motivational help. And who knows? You may even end up making music together.